Now, with the year of 2016 coming to a close and Donald Trump being named Time's Person of the Year, sharing, of course, that great honor with some of the other greats like Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin, by the way, also Time Person of the Year. Now, there are other 2016 political players that have also that are receiving a different kind of award. This one being GQ's Least Influential People of the Year. Now, I read this article. I was actually very amused, and it was written by Drew Margery. And it kind of made me want to do some of my own picks for Least Influential People of the Year. And unsurprisingly, Drew and I actually have some similar picks. So some of his picks are mine, some of his picks are his, and that's where we agree. So now on those picks, let's go down a couple of them in really no particular order. Now, let's start out with our good friend, Anthony Weiner. How ironic that a dude who has a name that is synonymous with penis would have been sexting random women. Who would have known, right? But look, I can forgive him for doing that, okay? Because the guy's like he can't help himself. He's a horn dog, right? Okay, whatever. I want to stay out of your personal life. I want to stay out of who you're sexting. I don't give a shit, right? It's none of my business. Except, of course, when he did allegedly sext a 15-year-old girl. Then it becomes other people's business because that is illegal, okay? Now, what is actually less heinous than allegedly sexting a 15-year-old girl, but still worthy of mention, is also the fact that during the primary this year, he did go after Bernie Sanders and he did attack progressives. Now, Anthony Weiner before was known as a progressive fighter, somebody who would, get loud and fight for progressive values. Well, during the primary fight, he didn't do any of that. He was pro-establishment, anti-Bernie Sanders, anti-progressives. Okay, can't forgive that. Can't forgive that, right? So as far as not being very influential, Weiner, yeah, he belongs on this list. No doubt. No doubt. Now, who's next? Tim Kaine. Now, Tim Kaine, I don't even dislike Tim Kaine personally. I just don't know who he is. Who is this guy? He was missing the entire time. He literally disappeared the moment he accepted the nomination. Okay. He and Jim Gilmore were probably sharing the same milk carton under the caption of "Have you seen me?" Because he's not there. He was gone. What happened? What happened? You disappeared. Now, his pick, of course, stands out as an example of how Hillary Clinton ran her campaign. Let's pick the most boring, establishment, milquetoast, not going to rock the boat, running mate that we can. Got to make sure that nobody overshadows Hillary Clinton. And apparently it's so easy to overshadow Hillary Clinton that we had to pick someone that was more boring than Driftwood. This is what we had to do. And they thought, he's going to energize progressives. Don't you worry about that. I mean, he speaks Spanish. Are you not excited? Are you not excited? I'm excited. No, nobody's excited. Nobody was excited by Tim Kaine. But look, so on those two picks, me and Drew Margery had pretty much Margery, had the same picks. Now, I'm going to deviate from the list a bit from the list here by adding the DNC, the Democratic National Committee. Now, this includes Donna Brazile and Debbie Wasserman Schultz. All right. Now, those two specifically, I mean, you got to look at all the time and the effort they spent not only to elevate Hillary Clinton, but also to try to sabotage the candidacy of Bernie Sanders, which, of course, led to the worst presidential election I've ever experienced in my short 33 years on this earth. Okay. Now, under these two political establishment hacks, the DNC essentially lied, distorted, and rigged the process against our best hope to defeat Donald Trump. And that was Bernie Sanders. Now, what they do, they painted him as a sexist. I mean, this guy, the most liberal senator in America. Okay? No, he's a sexist. He hates women. Really? You got to be kidding me. No, he's somehow a sexist because he had the audacity of running against a woman. Can't do that. Can't do that. They also called his ideas, which were, of course, incredibly popular and in use by a lot of other countries. Oh, no, that's pie in the sky. It's unrealistic. It's bullshit. It's garbage. Okay? No. Can't do that. We can't do any of that. No, what you have to do, if you have to go status quo, we have to be steady as you go. Don't rock the boat. Don't do any change because we like it the way it is. All right. Now, of course, a lot of people don't like the way that it is. And that's why some of them, we call them the brick throwers, decided to vote not for Hillary Clinton, whether they voted for Donald Trump or voted for a third party. These were the brick throwers that were so sick and tired of the establishment and establishment politics that they had to do something, anything for change. Those are the people that would have went to Bernie Sanders. Now, they also, Donna Brazile and Debbie Wasserman Schultz, also wrote off progressives and tried to force them essentially to leave the party. And then, of course, they turned around and as soon as they put they coronated Hillary Clinton, they were like, come back, we need your vote, we need your vote. Oh, you didn't vote for Hillary Clinton, the person that we put up? It's your fault she lost then. That's what they did. They blamed pretty much everybody for her loss, including Russia, sexism, the FBI, WikiLeaks, fake news, anything but their beloved candidate in Hillary Clinton. Now, I have another thing on my list, and it's probably one of the biggest here, and that's the media. Now, we know from the Podesta emails that the DNC and the Clinton campaign essentially worked together to not only sabotage Bernie Sanders, but to elevate both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Now, first, of course, they went after Bernie Sanders by putting out fake news. Now, they're doing the same thing to Keith Ellison right now, who's running for the DNC chair. Now, I've seen articles out there where they're smearing him as, oh, Ellison, he's anti-Semitic, and he said some terrible things like 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and, he hates Jewish people, because he's a Muslim, and so he can't be DNC chair. Stuff that, of course, he's disavowed and said, yeah, I was young and I didn't mean what I said because I've actually learned things. And I have a completely different position now. Now, of course, Ellison, I know some people do have a problem with Ellison. I get it. He's not perfect. There are some questionable policies that he has supported. For example, the no-fly zone in Syria. Okay, that's... Obviously, I've had my criticisms of that, okay? And, I'll call him out on it. But on most other policies, he's very progressive, enough for, at least for Bernie Sanders, to put his trust in Ellison. So, but anyway, the media used fake news to drive their agenda. And now, of course, they're decrying the same kind of fake news. See, here's the thing, right? There's a misconception about the media. A lot of people think, oh, the media's got a liberal bias. Or on the other side, oh, the media's got a conservative bias. No. They don't have either. What they have is an establishment bias. Whether that's the establishment on the Republican side or the establishment on the Democratic side, they have that bias, that establishment bias of the status quo. They want to keep things the same because, look, that's how they've gotten rich. They get rich off the status quo. And that's, of course, why they hate independent media, and they don't like a lot of journalism. Now, don't get me wrong. They do some journalism, and some of it's actually pretty good, okay? But, however, there are times where they don't report on things that are really, really important. For example, most of them did not report on DAPL. Now, I do have to give some credit here to Lawrence O'Donnell for actually being there for a little while. Great. So there's an example that defied the rest of my example, but most of the media, they were not there. His show was one out of many who did not show up, who did not talk about DAPL. Now, what they did focus on, unfortunately for the most part, was Donald Trump. Almost 24/7. For example, they would have a camera on Donald Trump's empty podium while there were other really important things going on. While, for example, Bernie Sanders was filling up stadiums full of people, and while Native Americans were facing systematic oppression over at Standing Rock. But they didn't cover it. They also, of course, ignored the corruption within the Democratic Party. And, of course, they ignored the role of money in politics. And, of course, that's not by accident, because, after all, they make millions off money in politics. Now, a good example, Les Moonves, right? This is how the media thinks. Les Moonves, head of CBS, said, look, Donald Trump might not be good for America, but he's really good for CBS. That's exactly the mindset. And you know what else is good for CBS? The super PACs that spend millions of dollars on ads that end up going right into his pocket on political ads. So he loves this system, and he's just an example of the rest of the media that absolutely love this system. Now, of course, you might be asking, hey, Jeff, I thought you were talking about the least influential. But it seems like what you're talking about is very influential. Well, look, the reason I call them not influential is because all their efforts only led to the media being less trusted and more despised and less influential within the political process. I mean, after all the hours and all the time they spent with Donald Trump and all the time they spent trying to elevate Hillary Clinton, what happened? What happened? It didn't have any influence at all. And look, none of you are probably going to be surprised at the last one that I'm going to mention. And this is something that Drew Margery also had as one of his picks as well. And that is Hillary Clinton. Of course. Of course. Yeah, I know you guys saw this coming a million miles away. So all credit to that. Look, Hillary Clinton is on this list simply for several different reasons, I guess. One of them being her hubris. How she really thought that this whole thing was going to be an absolute cakewalk. That she could sit there and ignore progressives. That she could ignore, she thought she could ignore working class Americans. She even thought that she could skip campaigning in both Michigan and Wisconsin. She also thought that she could present the status quo in a time where so many Americans are hurting because of the status quo. Because she thought that, hey, it's my turn and nothing else matters. And because she felt that it was more important for us to be with her than for her to be with us. Okay? And of course, because as soon as she lost, she decided to disappear. She didn't go fight DAPL. She didn't come out to fight for values she said she was in favor of. She was not in Detroit fighting for Flint water, fighting for clean Flint water. No, as soon as that whole issue, that campaign issue passed in the primary, gone. Where'd she go? Where'd she go? She's gone. She disappeared in the woods of Chappaqua. Poof, gone. And finally, of course, the main reason is because she did everything wrong. And that has subjected us to the next 4 years of Donald Trump, a racist, sexist, demagogue, reality TV star, and a Republican Congress, which is actually more dangerous, at his command. That's her legacy. And that is the only thing that she will ever be remembered for. So when you're speaking of someone who is the least influential, you can't get less influential than that. She'll be a footnote in history as the one who enabled Donald Trump. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.